Meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I'd like to welcome everyone to the February Committee of the Whole meeting for the Community High School District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School will ignite a passion for learning, foster leadership and responsibility, and empower all learners to know best.
Thank you, Rich. Board agreements, please.
Social media. Board members recognize that while we may be giving our individual opinion or stating a fact on social media, it has the potential to impact the entire board. When promoting official district business and activities, personal use of social media should be limited to directly sharing links from the district media platforms without personal editorial or opinion. Board members will not post rebuttals, responses, corrections to district-related social media posts.
Thank you, Lynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Nagel?
Present.
Mr. Ramos?
Present.
Ms. Chavez?
Here.
Ms. Murphy?
Present.
All right, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public may address the Board of Education on any topic. We welcome your comments and will carefully listen to your concerns. We will not be able to engage in a dialogue during public participation, but when appropriate, we will direct the administration to follow up. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person, with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. If you are making public comment, please speak slowly so that the translator is able to keep up with you. If you wish to make personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district, we request that you send the board your concerns in writing rather than stating those concerns during public comment. If anyone currently present wishes to make public comment and hasn't already done so, please fill out one of the comment forms in the back of the room and hand it to someone seated at the table. We have received no comment forms and no electronic comment, so we will move to reports and information. Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development Report.
Good evening. I have two reports for you tonight. The first is a review of the DAOS board meeting that was held on January 15th. There were 3 items of note. The first is that the audit report for the technology of Center of DuPage and DAOS as well were conducted, and the report was given. I'll reference that for you in a moment. Also, the calendar for the 26-27 school year was released, and there was an update regarding a proposed administrative alignment that has the potential to positively impact students. So first of all, the Baker and Tilley audit came back with an unmodified audit opinion, so the highest rating that they, I believe, could receive. Secondly, the comparison of the D94 and TCD calendars is a positive one. The first day of student attendance, winter break, and spring break are all in alignment, as well as the last day of student attendance at TCD is May 19th, which is the day prior to final exams here at WeGo. So that will work very well for our students. And finally, there's an administrative restructuring that is being proposed that would switch from an assistant principal and a dean position to 2 assistant principals, which would then be 12-month positions. And the reason behind this is to provide more focus on multilingual learners, to provide more access and time in consideration of individual education plans, as well as their MTSS programming. So those are the 3 key points that will then be revisited this upcoming month. In addition to that, I wanted to give you some information about a partnership with the DuPage ROE and the Special Education Department. As we continue to discuss each month, the strategic plan goal 1 is really focused on providing that personal pathway for all students. And one of the ways that we're focused on doing that is through research-based practices. So the Special Education Department, through Specialized Services, is providing additional assessment, data collection, and instructional learning through the ROE that's focused specifically on foundational learning skills. So these would be for our students who are in the greatest need of accelerating their literacy. The way that this works then is that their training is being used. The progress monitoring initially is through the STAR assessment, so that's Renaissance Learning, and that's a program that we already use with students. This will be something that can work through longitudinal data. They'll be using CBM assessments, so very brief passages that students would read and would be timed on in terms of accuracy and fluency. And then this will provide the data that can be used to intervene for individual students as their progress monitored throughout the year. In addition to this, there are 5 total intended outcomes. So we talked about the first one of the implementation. Again, this would be focusing on training specific faculty who would be working with these students on how to implement these CBM assessments, looking at what's the way that you would determine what the next steps are instructionally for individual students, then designing that instruction and progress monitoring throughout, and then also identifying resources that would be needed for individual students that are based on their own instructional level. So this partnership would be one of the ways that we'd be able to reinforce this commitment that we have in focusing on building these new systems, practices, and capacity. So with that, and on behalf of the Specialized Services Department, the request is this evening that you would move forward in terms of looking at and then ultimately authorizing this partnership, the contract between the ROE and the district, which I believe is in your packet as well for you to be able to review.
Are you looking for board consensus tonight, or is this a heads up that we'll be voting at the next meeting?
I believe this is the first time that this has formally been here. I think Megan may have referenced it earlier. So I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Usually the action is not at the COW.
So this is something that'll come to the February regular? Correct. Any questions?
Exciting to see collaborating with the ROE. So
The programming there has really become pretty robust over the last few years, and it's particularly exciting because these are students who have very, very significant gaps in terms of their literacy. So being able to provide that individualized instruction is exactly what they need.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that report. That brings us to waste disposal bid results. Dan?
Thank you. The district's contract for waste removal is expiring at the end of February. As such, the administration released a bid for a 5-year waste removal contract on January 12th. We had a bid opening on January 26th, and we had 4 bid submissions. After reviewing all the bid submission, it was noted that the bid submissions had multiple errors from all vendors. And so the bid tally is attached to the agenda. The apparent low bidder was Groot, which is our current provider. In discussions with Groot, they provided clarification on their bid pricing, which should be $6 less per month than what was actually submitted onto the bid. Groot clarified that the overall monthly costs should add up to $447.30 and not the $453.77 that they had on the bid tally, noting that the original bid submission was incorrect in just the total. The specific line items in the bid were correct as stated. So based on the incorrect monthly total, and then the annual totals were also incorrect based off of that, I got revisions from Groot and clarifications, and so the overall, the revised total, the total bid amount for the 5-year contract is $29,659.38. I also talked with Groot, additionally asking them about the omission of the compactor rental on the bid submission. Groot noted that they would honor the bid as submitted, that it was their mistake, even though the compactor rental omission was a large portion of the contract. They preferred to keep the relationship with the district and the long-term contract over any other option. So based on those discussions with Groot and with the also discussions with our district legal counsel, and since Groot's been a good partner for the last 5 years, administration will be recommending at the February 17th board meeting to move forward with Groot on this 5-year contract. Any questions?
So they're not charging us for the compactor rental?
Correct.
How much would they normally have charged us for that?
That's about $350 a month. So it's a large portion.
That's a nice
Yeah,
savings. That's a nice savings.
Yeah.
Is that, because when I was looking at these, is it like you either get the compactor or the container usage charge? Is that what happens? Because not everybody has the compactor. Only Midwest Paper had it, and they don't have a container charge. It's not that big of a deal, Dan. You don't have to.
Oh, I was just taking a look. I think the 350 that's noted for Midwest should be underneath where that dollar is.
Oh, I see.
Right, any other questions about a waste disposal bid?
I was surprised at how wide a range the bids were coming in.
Yeah.
Groot does West Chicago's disposal, so I guess they have an advantage because they're here anyway.
Yeah, I think they do 33s, they do the Village. I think they're already right here. I think we had Waste Management and Lakeshore that were really close together in total overall pricing. But yeah, Groot, even with the compactor in there, I think they're still 20 grand less than Lakeshore and Waste Management. So they're pretty cheap, and the numbers that they provided are pretty close to what we're currently getting. And so they didn't raise it a whole lot, and so it's similar to what our current prices are.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, auditorium renovations bid.
All right. So the district issued a public bid on January 16th for the summer 2026 auditorium renovation project. We had 2 bid walkthroughs were conducted on January 21st and January 26th. Multiple prospective contractors attended the walkthroughs, representing all major trades to complete the project. Attendance included contractors specializing in plaster. We had 2 separate firms. We had carpentry, we had demolition, and electrical work, among a few others. We had the bid opening that was held on February 2nd, and we had a total of 22 contractors submitting bids. While the overall contractor participation was strong, we did not receive the expected minimum of 2 bids for all trades. Specifically, we only received 1 bid for electrical, which is actually the largest part of this bid. And then we had a partial bid received for acoustical panels, and then we received no bids for plaster. So to ensure competitive pricing, the district, we plan to rebid the electrical, the acoustic panels, and the plaster portions of the project. The rebid is going to be issued on Friday. We're going to open that on the 20th. And then our goal is to present an entire package to the board at the March 3rd Committee of the Whole meeting, and then get that approved. We want to get to the March 3rd meeting because due to some lead times for stage curtains and for the seats, we want to make sure that we can get those ordered and that they come in time. The seats actually have about a 4 to 6 week lead time. So we intend to use the purchase the auditorium seating through the Omnia purchasing cooperative contract with Irwin Seating Company. The total cost of the seating is going to be $273,106. That includes installation. And so the Omnia cooperative contract documentation and that proposed seating layout for the auditorium is included in the agenda. So following the February 20th bid opening for those 3 remaining trades, the full renovation package is planned to be presented to the board at March 3rd. So based on the bids received to date, though, overall pricing appears to be consistent with the established project budget, with final costs will be confirmed once all trades are bid and compiled. The preliminary results are positive and indicate the project is trending within budget expectations. Any questions?
I was surprised at the per seat installation costs. We have lawyers installing these or something?
They were high.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out how installing a seat is gonna run, like, I think it was $160 or something.
$60. I was wondering that too.
I mean,
Yeah,
either it
union,
takes a real long time, or, labor rates are sky high.
union
That just
workers,
didn't
making
make
sure
sense.
everything is installed exactly the way it's supposed to be and in the correct locations.
You'd have to line them up and everything.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I don't understand. Why are balcony chairs less than main floor chairs? That was my question.
They're just a little different.
Are they smaller?
They're
Do I want to sit in the balcony or the main floor then?
the main floor chairs are going to be a little more comfortable than the balcony chairs, but they're going to be similar, but the ones on the floor are a little different, and then they're going to also, the ones on the floor will have some more details on the side of them.
Is that because the balcony is not used as often, so save a little money on the seats that don't get the frequent use?
Correct.
Makes sense.
Did
Cheap seats, yeah.
Now we know why they call them that.
So that $160, is that typical for installation? I mean, is there something odd about our installation? It
I
seems
don't
like.
think so. I think it seems to be typical as the architects and the construction managers went around and looking for pricing for the seats. And this was the best pricing that they were able to find through the purchasing cooperative.
All right, thank you for that. Moving on to new business, ISBE Discipline Improvement Plan. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the 2025 to 2026 Discipline Improvement Plan for West Chicago Community High School District 94.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I know there were some questions that had come up, and you said part of it we didn't quite have answers for yet.
So Dr. Poyo worked all day today to gather that information
Okay.
for everyone, so that's that table right here, the
Oh, I'm
answers
sorry.
to the questions and the data.
Should have read my homework.
Yeah, so if you do look at like this document here, and what I did was I just provided you with a little bit more data. I know that some of the questions were relative to our focus. When we do look at our data, we can see that we really want to be focusing in on our 9th and 10th grade. So overall, when we look at our discipline data, it increases, like freshman year, we have the highest number of disciplinary infractions. And then as students progress, that number gets lower. And so when we are looking at, okay, what's our focus and who should we be targeting? It is specifically our 9th and 10th grade students. They do make up 70% of our disciplinary infractions. And then when we look at that further and start looking at it by race, about 88% of our disciplinary infractions consist of Latino students. We also do have a higher representation of male students who are receiving disciplinary consequences. So that first chart does give you kind of like that breakdown between male and female. And so in terms of like the focus for 9th grade, we will continue to focus on skills like executive functioning, just looking at that transition to high school and organization, because we know that these are some skills that are important to our freshman students. And then when we look at our in-school suspension numbers, because I know there was another question related to in-school suspension, really those drivers that are driving our in-school suspension numbers are attendance related. So that includes truancies and tardies. And so on here, you'll see kind of like a breakdown of our structure for tardies, how it is that students eventually get to that in-school suspension. And so it's not until students reach 14 tardies in the semester that they're assigned that consequence, but there's interventions that do take place before that. And then there's also details of the structure of our in-school suspension. So if you do look on the back page, and really our in-school suspension, we do have a certified teacher who's retired that is there. Students are receiving their work. There are certain classes that they're still allowed to participate in. For example, if there's a lab that they can't retake, or if a student is in driver's ed, there's a certain number of hours that students have to meet for those courses. But we're really trying to focus on providing students with more interventions and supports. And I know there was another question related to on question 3. It asked if the district completed the implicit bias training that's required. So we do complete that training, but ISB does offer a tool. It's called the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Provider Tool. And so what that tool is, it's a evaluation tool that can be used by districts to evaluate the professional development. And so we're using the PD that we're using, it's completed online, and that is provided through Ed Leaders Network. And so currently at the time, the rubric that they have in place doesn't apply because it's meant for providers where we're contracting someone or we're having someone in person, but we are using Ed Leaders Network for that, and that is something that's already created where our teachers go through those online modules. So that's why when you look at question 3, we're not using it just because it's not applicable at this time.
The diversity, equity, and inclusion provider evaluation tool is not applicable, you said?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking back and forth between two questions.
Yes.
I just want to say thanks to Dr. Poyo for putting this together so quickly. I know the questions came in late last night, and she spent all day putting this together, so I really appreciate the time you put in.
Thank you for that.
There was also another question about in-school suspension models. There's other models out there, and we've had preliminary discussions about what those models might look like here, whether pushing in full-time teachers to help support with English or with math or with science, or pushing in a certified special education teacher to ensure that the students are still receiving their minutes. So those models are in existence, and that's something that we're going to be working closely on to see what best fits our needs here.
In the numbers from 24 to 25, they were just about the same. There was a little bit of a reduction in disciplinary action in 25. But what happened in 23 to 24? Because that was a bigger, 23 was like really low compared to the rest of the years. And I'm wondering what was going on that year.
First full year back from the
23.
pandemic?
23 would have been 20.
Or was that
24.
22? 22, we were like phasing
21, I
back in?
think.
I'm trying to remember.
21, 22, we're phasing back in. Yeah, 22.
It was like striking how different that particular year was.
Yeah, I noted that too, Tammy, yeah.
We don't have an answer because
Okay.
I don't,
most
I'm
of us
sorry.
weren't here.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I apologize.
I just
Oh,
feel
that's
like
okay.
it might be somewhat pandemic-related. That was all I could think of, but you're right, that caught my eye too.
Yeah.
It would be helpful on the second graph to see what the percentage of the population is of these, kind of be able to look at a per capita. On the first graph, or the first chart, I am assuming male and female is about 50-50, but to see what the makeup, we see the percentages of the in-school suspensions, but not necessarily the percentage of the student body. So it'd be good to see that as well.
Some of that may be in
Maybe.
here, yeah.
As an answer to your question, we did have a discipline improvement plan in place then, and then we had a number of administrative changes that I think set us quite a bit backwards in how that was going. So
Yeah, we could speculate on why. I don't know for sure why we had a dip in one year over the next. We can look into it.
Some kind of magic in 2023 was going on over here.
A good year, right? I mean, this is the second go-around of this plan. I think it dates back all the way back to 1920.
The last 5
2021.
years.
Yeah, so we've been on this watch for 5 consecutive years.
And it's been, so currently, like this year, the plan is for the racial disproportionality because our overall suspension rate did go down. But we still have an overrepresentation of particularly, we're looking at our Latino students that are being suspended at higher rates.
And on a positive, our racial disproportionality rate did go down by 2 full points, which if you look in the surrounding areas, that's unheard of. I mean, it's difficult to go down that far. So if we can continue on that trend, we could be off this list in a year or two, which would be great.
Any other questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Casey Mayer,
Aye.
Mr. Nagel,
Aye.
Mr. Remus,
I
Ms. Chavez, Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. Motion carries. Publication of strategic plan. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve Solution Tree to publish the Community High School District 94's strategic plan, including vision, mission, values, and portraits of a graduate, educator, and system, in the book entitled 8 Dimensions of Strategic School Management Leading the Right Way, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll just say this is very exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel,
Come back to me, I've lost my computer here.
Mr. Remus,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez,
Aye.
Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer,
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Motion carries. And that's all we have for open session. We will be going into closed session. There will not be any action taken after the closed session. At this time, the recommended motion, the Board of Education go into closed session at 7:25 for purposes of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees and collective negotiating matters.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Remus,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez,
Aye.
Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer,
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
All right, we're going into closed session. Everybody, let's take 5.